So this is a pretty cool conceptualization of heaven and hell. So if you're like, where's heaven? Where's hell? How do I get there? How do I find it? How do I escape hell? This is the video for you. I'm not in the super flow state, so apologies. Maybe it's better. This is a cappuccino. I'm tired. So hell is the surface of this world. The surface of reality is dependent on hell. It is hell. Anything that you could reference or point to or look at, it's hell. And it's it is the superficiality of it. It's everything that exists has this superficiality to it, and it's this world of linear causality to where nothing's in control because everything's dictated by the past or something else, or it's like it's running according to circumstance. It's powerless. It's somewhat divorced from being. It's separate from being. And the physical, the mechanical orientation or the arrangement of this situation is identical to the surface of water. So the demonic realm is the air. That's why they're called aerial spirits. Demons live in the air. They live in the void. They live in the space where there is no presence, right? They live in the non-existence. And so this is a cosmic reality. It's more than the metaphor that I'm using of water, but water is the lens. Water is the means by which you can understand how this is structurally true. And understanding how something is structurally true is incredibly important if you really intend to go somewhere or leave somewhere. You have to know where you are structurally. You can't just understand things about stuff. You have to know where it is in space and time and how it relates, how things relate to each other structurally is the map, and the map is the means by which you navigate, right? So hell is a combination of hell is the surface of the water, right? And so that's a combination of the fullness of water, the fullness of consciousness. The water is also could be heaven, right? So heaven is the water. Hell is the surface of the water. It's the part of heaven that is pressed up against the void. That's pressed up and completely, you could say it's completely dominated by the aerial spirits. Like look at the surface of the ocean. It's completely dominated by the activities of the air, the activities of the stars, the activities of fate, right? What is hell other than I'm not in control? The astrology made me do it. The wind made me do it. The spirit made me do it. The noise that I heard in my head, the air, the voice, that type of voice, the non-creative voice, right? God's voice is creative. God's voice is the substance of the world. The voice of hell, the demon in the ear, right? Where do you hear? What do you hear through? You hear through the air. You hear through emptiness. The voice coming from emptiness is the voice of the devil, the voice of demons, etc. None of this is good or bad. This is the cosmic picture upon which the whole world rests. So hell is this superficial aspect of reality, and if there was not this skin, if water had no surface, there would be no waves, there would be no things, there would be no creation. And creation is never separate from the being of water. There's no surface of water separate from water. It doesn't even make sense, right? So hell isn't a place you can go to, because hell is when you say there's just surface, right? So even in terms of the sensory perceptions of the body, that even the sense of space, depth, volume, anything having to do with dimensions, that's all something that's encoded on the surface of the water, the surface of consciousness. The same way that you can be in a video game and the video game has a room with volume and space. Right? But that doesn't actually exist. And so volume and space also don't exactly exist in the way that we think they do. And so hell is when you take that two-dimensional surface reality and you separate it from God. So it's a delusion because it's impossible. It's like saying the surface of water exists without water. Because anytime that you're connected to being, anytime you're connected to consciousness, anytime you're connected to God, you're obviously not in hell. And so the surface of the water, the surface of consciousness, the surface of reality is not exactly hell. Even though if you were to point it out, it has all the qualities of hell, except that it's connected to God, and except that it's like carrying out God's plan, and et cetera, et cetera. Hell is this delusion of ignoring the bulk or the volume of water, ignoring the silent water, the water that's not on the surface, the water that's not making an object, the water that's not becoming a thing, the water under the surface, the bulk water, the silent water, the listening water. That's always there. That's always there under the surface. And so the surface is never detached from that, right? If the surface is not detached from that, then it's not hell, it's a game. It's a play, it's an act, it's creative, it's meaningful. It's a meaningful story being told. And so hell is right there. And the demonic realm is right there. It doesn't really exist. You can't touch it. Like, you can touch water, and then when you're not touching water, what are you touching? I'm touching nothing. I'm touching air. It's like, yeah, there's something there. It's emptiness, though. In comparison to the human experience, it's absolute emptiness. Take a room and empty it. Oh, there's nothing left in there but air. It's like, that's not a thing, that's a field, that's a space, that's a field with nothing in it. There's no substance. Smoke, vapor, at most. And so that's what's outside of being. What's outside of being? What's on the other side of existence? What's outside of existence? Nothing. So what's between existence and non-existence? Well, the surface. The surface of existence is what is between existence and non-existence. And the surface of existence is different than existence in the exact same way that the surface of water is different from the rest of the water. Right? So the surface of existence exists in the way that we think things that exist. It's got a vibration to it. It's the vibration of the quantum field, basically. What people call the quantum field is the surface of existence, and it vibrates and it waves, and that encodes all the particles, the spaces, the bodies, everything. And then the surface of existence, that quantum field, is just a surface. And then underneath that surface is the water, is the actual existence itself, the actual existence, the thing, the substance, the being, is the thing underneath it, and it's silent. It's not a surface, it's not a wave, so it's invisible the same way that the non-surfacing water is invisible. Water that is not playing the role of a surface, water that's not playing the role of boundary, water that's not pressed up against non-existence, is just as empty and devoid of existence as non-existence, except that it's full of being, and you can feel it. and you can get in it, you can participate in it, you can drink it, you are it, you recognize it as self. And just think about water, reference water right now, and you can take all of my words and you can know experientially that what I'm saying is very straightforward, common sense truth. I'm pounding caffeine because I have to do my taxes tonight. Like, I absolutely have to do my taxes tonight. And I get tired. And so reality, that surface, is when you get the instant that you push your head through the surface and you try and get above reality to understand it, you're going into the disaster of annihilation, of non-existence. You're sticking your head up out of God with your understanding, coming up out of it and looking down on the world to try and understand it. So as people are initiated into occultism, as people are initiated into esoteric sciences, as people get larger and more disassociated vantage points, as they get higher and higher away from reality, so elites, intellectuals, academics, mystics, theologians, sages, scientists, people that have this great vantage point, are sticking their head up into the source and the creator of hell, right? This void of non-existence that I'll reference as air, right? Air is the realm of the demons. All the demons are one emptiness. It's the same emptiness. Every demonic force is the same vacuous emptiness, the lack of God, the lack of being, the lack of whatever. That lack of God creates the nothingness outside of God. And then between those two things, between something and nothing, right? Like take a glob of water, between that water and between the air, which is comparatively nothing, right? This is all relatives too, right? That even the demons are something, just like even if you dig into the air, it's something. It's not actually emptiness, but the air in comparison to your body, the air in comparison to water is non-being. When you remove everything but the air out of a room, you go, that's empty. So that non-beingness, that non-realityness is very much tied into and correlated with what people like describe as the demonic activity. It's away from God. So structurally, how does all this work? Reference water. And so that that non-existence is never going to be fixed. So you can get to this thing to where you fall into God, you fall into being, and you can look at the surface from the standpoint of God. If you look at reality, if you look at the surface from inside of God, you see an expression of God. If you look at the surface from outside of God, you see an empty, fake, imaginary, void, two-dimensional reality. And so the people that get that kind of like power from going into the void is the same as pulling back away from God. And that gives you that vantage point. So all the occultists get this, like, they get sociopathic because it's not real to them. Hell is when reality isn't real. Hell is when this surface isn't real because it lacks God. If you lack God, then you're not going to participate in the substance or in the meaning of reality. And so reality will have no meaning to you. It's just a dance of form. It's a dance of appearance. It's a dance of... And so that's where hell is. And so the line between heaven and hell runs through every single person, just like the surface of reality runs through you. On one side of you is God, on the other side of you is non-being. And being does not require non-being to exist. This world would not exist without the evil one. This world would not exist without the lack. This world would not exist without so there's nothing that God lacks. But when God creates and somebody pulls away from God, they lack God. And so God doesn't lack them, but they lack God, and it creates a boundary. It creates a layer between two things. One of those things is full, reality, consciousness, awareness. Water's full. The other side is less full. So it's two substances of different densities coming in contact with each other. That creates the conditions for a surface. And the conditions of that surface show sort of everything that is lacking. And it shows everything that God has, and it shows everything that the other side is lacking. The behavior of the surface of water shows everything that the air is lacking. Everywhere that the water moves, it's moving there because the air lacks it. The air lacks the substance there, and so the water can move there. And then you get a wave pattern. You get a surface, you get a lens, right? The surface acts as a lens, so you get an eye, you get a consciousness, you get an awareness, you get a looking out. You get a looking out from where? Into. You get God looking into the void. All right, what is that void? The void is the human heart. So you have this condition where there's really nothing but God looking into the emptiness of the human heart and calling. This is standard cosmology, Orthodox cosmology. I think it's standard Buddhist cosmology. Standard anything cosmology. Standard. Obvious. No duh.